What's up, guys? This is Chris from Draftdashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 5 First Look. These picks apply for Draftkings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top Draftkings picks for NFL Week 5. And if you stay to the very end after all my picks and after I show you the Draft Dashboard tools, I'll give you my super secret sleeper pick that no one's talking about. Oh, and after our sleeper pick, we've put a link to subscribe to this channel right in the bottom middle of the video. So if you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe because we're putting out new videos every single day for the NFL. NBA's coming up. Tons of content. I don't want you to miss anything. So hit that subscribe button so you never miss a thing. Okay, NFL Week 5. Let's take a look at the quarterback position. I like Jameis Winston from the Tampa Bay Bucks playing the New Orleans Saints, who have the 10th worst defense overall, and they give up the second most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Jameis Winston is averaging 21.5 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 33 fantasy points last game and 30 fantasy points the game before that. So he's red hot. His receivers Chris Godwin and Mike Evans are heating up. He's rushing the ball 3.5 times per game. So he still has that rushing touchdown threat. He's projected at 17.1 fantasy points here in Week 5. He's $6,200 DraftKings salary and $1,400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 47 points scored in this game, and they think the Bucks will be trailing by 4. It took them a couple games to get going, but now this guy's on fire, and he's got a fantastic matchup here in Week 5. So I like Jameis Winston here versus the New Orleans Saints. Before I continue with the picks, I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching. If you want to enter the drawing for $100 PayPal, all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won, and then we'll send you $100 PayPal. So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. Of course, at the top, Christian McCaffrey. How do you not play this guy? He had 27 rush attempts last game and 10 pass targets. He's doing the work of 2 players all bundled up into one. He is the Carolina offense. It's a home game this week, so of course, Christian McCaffrey, top running back on the slate. But coming down in salary, another stud you can rely on this week is David Johnson from the Arizona Cardinals playing the Cincinnati Bengals, who have the 5th worst defense overall, and they give up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing running backs. David Johnson is averaging 18.6 fantasy points per game on the season. He scored 22 fantasy points last week. He had 11 rushes and 11 targets. That's consistent with his season averages. He's getting around or more than 20 touches a game. He's been a consistent part of this offense. He's on the field for 81% of the snaps, and he touches the ball 32% of that time. He's projected at 17.6 fantasy points here in Week 5. He's $7,500 DraftKings salary and $700 less on FanDuel. So I love that FanDuel price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 48.5 points scored in this game. They have the Cardinals trailing by 4.5 points. Great matchup for David Johnson. We saw Connor and Samuels from the Pittsburgh Steelers run all over the Cincinnati Bengals. So I think David Johnson can do the same thing here. So I like David Johnson here versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. I like Tyler Boyd from the Cincinnati Bengals playing the Arizona Cardinals, who have the 2nd worst defense overall, and they're middle of the pack defending opposing wide receivers. Tyler Boyd has averaged 14.7 fantasy points per game on the season. He's getting an average of 9.5 targets per game. He had a bad game last game, only scored 6 fantasy points on 6 targets. That's going to drop his ownership a little bit. He's on the field for 85% of the snaps and he touches the ball 17% of that time. He's projected to get 16.4 fantasy points here in week 5. He's $6,500 DraftKings salary and $200 more on FanDuel. So I think that's a nice mid-salary price for a player that's got a high ceiling here in week 5. Vegas thinks there's going to be 48.5 points scored in this game, and they've got the Bengals ahead by 4.5 points. This is a home game for Tyler Boyd, a fantastic matchup here versus the Arizona Cardinals, and I think it's a great bounce back spot to strike when other people may look at the game log and shy away a little here. So that's why I like Tyler Boyd here versus the Arizona Cardinals. Real quick guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL, MLB is still going, NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. Okay, moving on to the tight end position. I like Greg Olsen from the Carolina Panthers playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have the 12th worst defense overall, and they give up the 11th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Greg Olsen has averaged 13.9 fantasy points per game on the season and an average of 7.3 pass targets per game. Bad game last game, only scored 3 fantasy points off of 4 targets, but he's been on the field for 88% of the snaps and he touches the ball 12% of that time. He's projected at 11.7 fantasy points here in week 5, and he's only $4,000 DraftKings salary and $1,700 more on FanDuel. So I love that DraftKings price. Vegas thinks there's going to be 41 points scored in this game, with Carolina leading by 3.5 points. This is a home game for Greg Olsen, and he's the #1 tight end in passing routes so far this season. You can see he scored 26 and 20 fantasy points in the 2 games before last week where he only put up 3 fantasy points. I think last week's game is going to drop his ownership, but he's got a nice matchup now here in week 5 versus Jacksonville. So I like Greg Olsen here versus the Jaguars. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. You've unlocked the bonus content. Okay, my super secret sleeper pick for NFL Week 5 is Curtis Samuel from the Carolina Panthers playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, who have the 12th worst defense overall, and they give up the 7th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Curtis Samuel is averaging 10.8 fantasy points per game on the season in an average of 7.8 targets per game. He's on the field for 90% of the snaps and touches the ball 13% of that time. So that's a monster snap count. He's always out there, projected at 12.5 fantasy points here in week 5. He's only $4,500 DraftKings salary and $1,000 more on FanDuel. He didn't have a great game last week, so that should drop his ownership a little bit. But if he's going to get 8 targets a game at $4,500 DraftKings salary, and this is a home game, so I like Curtis Samuel here versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smickety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again and good luck. Do you want more DFS picks for NFL Week 5? Check out the video linked right in the middle of the screen. Tap that video to continue getting our Week 5 fantasy football picks. That's right, more DraftKings picks, more FanDuel picks. Don't miss out on our free content. Hit that subscribe button. It only takes a second, means a lot to us. Thanks again, and thanks for watching.